This review will contain detailed plot points and spoilers. It is recommended to view this film before listening to this episode. You have been warned. Welcome to the Nerdiverse. Go ahead, sit and listen to the masters, the old heads, talk about what you love the most. Video games, comics, movies, and everything you need to maintain your week. Got the knowledge that's straight out the ether. Gonna need a drink and have to take a seat to expand your mind and listen to the speaker. Mike and the squad's gonna give you what you need. Please send in the question. Come and get some answers. Learn a couple lessons from the masters with the special guests. We got the Green Lanterns glowing on their chest. Yes, please sit back and relax, cause we're gonna hit you with them stone cold facts. And allow me to be the very first to welcome you to the masters of the Nerdiverse. Welcome to MOTN Reviews. This is Masters of the Nerdiverse Reviews, where we take a look at some of cinema's most shiniest supernovas and some that are not so brightly lit. This human folklore of a podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G.
And I am also here. My name is Austin, and I will be your also host today, the co-host with the mostest, and I will be directing how this play goes for the day, because Mike does not know his American folklore, and I do.
I don't know my Southern American folklore as much as Austin. Apparently, this is, this Pokemon has just evolved. now he apparently he's had this gift the whole time.
I am so glad today's movie. Thank you, by the way, to our lovely contact within Arrow Video who gave us the ability to watch this movie today before it really comes out on release day.
Yep, which is December 15th.
December 15th. It is called The Mark of the Bell Witch, haunting audiences December 15th, 2020.
Haunting all the audiences with a documentary that really threw me by surprise, because I didn't even know, based on the name of it, I really didn't know what to expect.
You thought it was a Blair Witch knockoff, didn't you?
I legit didn't. I couldn't tell. I thought it was I thought it was a Blair Witch knockoff very early in the movie. I got this feeling of, the Chainsaw Massacre feeling. Like, are these actors? Are these just like people who are really into it? Because I can't tell if it's either people who are really into it that can act or actors who are really into it. So I could not tell, and I completely was oblivious that the Blair Witch, the Bell Witch is a thing. It's an actual thing.
The Bell Witch is indeed a thing in good old Appalachia, Tennessee.
Man, because I was watching this and kind of going through, okay, this is maybe, because at first I thought, like you said, I felt like it was like a mockumentary, maybe, just because of the production value, I hate to say. And some of the people looked like actors. You know what I mean? Like, there's this one guy who had who had the LA tan, you know what I mean, in Tennessee.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was like Brad Barker or Math Barker, PhD of like PhD folklorist in like the University of Tennessee or something like that.
Yeah, I saw this guy and I was like, that guy's an actor. So it's like, this dude is legit.
You realize like 90% of them are not actors.
Are not actors. These are just folk, which really threw me for a loop about this documentary about the Bell Witch, who apparently was the influence of the Blair Witch.
Oh, yeah, the Blair Witch, the Bell Witch. I mean, also they kind of sound similar for one thing.
Yeah.
The Bell Witch takes place in good old Tennessee around the 1800s, where Andrew Jackson was still alive and actually plays a part in this story, actually, which was hilarious.
Who would you cast as Andrew Jackson if this was like a film, dude, like a legit blockbuster movie?
It has to be somebody who can play off an old crazy racist really well.
You mean like Mel Gibson?
Yes, but I'm thinking more emaciated, more gaunt, and sharp-looking. Actually, if you want to get like real racist, we could put Marky Mark in there.
Okay, this is a total tangent, just because I have such low knowledge of the Bell Witch. Why is Marky Mark still getting work?
Because
he's
attractive.
Why didn't he get Me Too'd into oblivion, Doug?
Because he's attractive, and that's really about it.
He's in the next
Despite
Uncharted.
him like throwing rocks at kids and calling them the N-word, despite punching an Asian man for being Asian and blinding him.
And permanently damaging his eyes forever. The things we want to forget about.
Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of shit about why Marky Mark was kind of a bad person.
I probably wouldn't want lunch with him, but we digress.
Yes.
The Bell Witch, what you said, takes place in the 1800s in good old Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee. And if you ever seen or been to the Appalachians, it's almost a whole new world.
If you go to the Appalachian Mountains in Tennessee, one thing you're going to see is a whole lot of overalls and banjos.
And
also,
green.
You're going to get a soundtrack kind of like this.
Yeah. Reminds me of working at Disneyland. And we would have they would play like every other person had a harmonica.
You would be going to Disneyland, and then they would just start playing "Song of the South."
Oh, we don't talk about "Song of the South" here on this podcast.
Uncle Ruckus.
soon to be changed into the Frog Princess, mind you, because we got to get that. Okay. We got to wipe that off existence. Doug.
This is getting way too hard. Okay, so Mark the Bell Witch, produced by Small Monsters, Inc. Productions. Small Monster Pictures, I think is what it is. Anyway, this documentary is amazing because one, I love documentaries that cover random bullshit like this. Two, the acting is ham and I love it.
It's so bad.
And three, they actually portray a lot of the history and the folklore behind this in an accurate manner.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. It's extremely thorough, I would say.
Yeah, but I can tell that you did not enjoy this just from the tone of your voice already.
No. It's because you know what it was. It's that Blair Witch feeling where it doesn't matter what production value you have. It doesn't matter on how good the acting is. This documentary legit creeped me out because it's steeped in actual history, and there's an underlining truth to that. Even if it's pure lore, the times where they talk about the hauntings or the actual designation of the witch itself got under my skin. I'm not going to lie. It got under my skin just because of me knowing that this is in a history book somewhere, that this actually quote unquote happened.
Oh, I can entirely get that.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense because it's kind of creepy. It's just like how about we just dive into things like why this all happened?
Go for it, man. What happened to the Bell family?
So
in the historical
events. Oh boy. Back in the day, there was this old woman named Kate Batts that everybody hated. Yep. They all thought that she was a witch because she was rude, cantankerous, and honestly, just a forceful woman, which is, back in the day, in 1800s America, meant that she's either a whore or a witch.
Good old history.
Exactly.
Yikes.
So whenever she got into this big dispute. Now, see, the thing is, this could be a dispute that's either based off of an argument she had with her brother-in-law or with John Bell. And the common running lore is that she had an argument and a falling out with John Bell, a landowner who she tried to make a deal with. It all fell apart. And she went to her grave cussing and spitting and cursing John Bell, saying she was going to kill him after she died. Which is how she came to be known as the Bell Witch. Because she came back and haunted that sumbitch afterwards.
Now, it's
good old John Bell, where he said he wasn't no other good old boy, but back in the day, whenever some Bell Witch says she's going to haunt your ass, she's going to come back and haunt your ass real good, quick like.
Two things. Firstly, I like that it's not really clear that the Bell Witch is indeed even a witch, because they made it very clear that the term,
she's a ghost.
The term witch was very loosely used back then. Anything that was unexplained, they would just call it a witch.
So there is actually an explanation behind the witch thing. So back in the day, there was this history lore that if a witch was able to gain an item from you, like a pin, a very common item back in the day, or some kind of personal effect, they would use that personal item to draw a curse up and then control or curse you or make you sick. Something horrible back in the 1800s. Because even just getting sick is like a 50% to die.
Yeah, you're gonna ultra die. Yeah.
So there was like this folklore of, hey, if you give your pin to somebody who you think is a witch, she might just kill you. And Kate Batts was known to be very, very much a beggar. She would ask people for personal effects all the time, which is even people who didn't really believe in witches and supernatural superstition back in the day became really guarded and would hide their personal effects around Kate Batts when she was alive. And at one point, she actually went to a church sermon where they all were kind of like rallying against her. And she like just started speaking in tongues and was just like insulting the entire clergy. And she sat on the face of the preacher. I'm not joking about that. Look that shit up. It happened.
Yikes. So she did a Maleficent pretty much.
Yeah, she like pulled shit off just to spite people that made her look like a witch, which is, you know, not surprising considering hick-ass Tennessee in the middle of the 1800s.
Dude, where everything wasn't ramped up to 11.
Exactly. And she's called the Bell Witch because when she died, her witchy witch self decided to become a ghost and haunt the Bell family, thanks to John Bell.
Now, the second part of my laughing tangent earlier on, I just imagine it's like 5 years from now and Carol Baskins is on her deathbed and she's cussing the name of Joe Exotic and she comes back as the Exotic Witch.
You know, Joe's probably going to die before her, thanks to all that freaking, thanks to how prison's going to treat him.
Yeah, prison and cocaine and all the crazy stuff he was doing back in the day. I just want an Exotic Witch movie where Joe Exotic talks about how Carol Baskins is haunting him from the grave or something.
The gay ghost.
The Gray Ghost, which is a Batman the Animated Series episode. But I digress.
So, anywho, what happened to good old John Bell and his family? Well, Kate Bell, a lot of whatever the fuck happened with Kate Batts. She became a ghost. She hunted his family and started doing things like clawing and scratching on their cabin in the middle of the night, knocking on things, making things disappear and shift and move about. And originally, she was just a spectral apparition. Then, as time went forward, as time kept going on, she gained more power in her undeathless state. And eventually she started talking to the bells.
Yeah.
And when we asked her what she was, she said, I was once a happy spirit, but now I am unrestful.
I like the idea that, because pardon my French, but Miss Batts, the Bell Witch, was talking big shit.
Oh, she entirely was.
And they would be like, so why are you here? And she would say very clearly, yeah, John Bell needs to die. And like, okay, why? He just needs killing.
Yeah, and it's hilarious.
Stuff like that. Like,
she would just like start harassing the entire family, like Kate Bell, the sons, the daughters, except Lucy, but we'll get to that later.
She liked Lucy.
And harass this entire family. And eventually people will start thinking, well, that's Kate Batts. That's that old witch who like seriously hated John.
Yep. Back from the DZ.
And it's just hilarious because they kept doing this like random hodgepodge things of just random harassment and just assaulting these people in the middle of the day and in the night and whatnot. And it's just so funny because at one point they had a preacher come in and try to exorcise her, but the preacher started laying out scripture and the witch would just start laughing or insulting them or counter scripture.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention.
Feel insulted or even just say, you got that scripture wrong. And this is the reason why. I'm a ghost and I got it better than you, son.
I know the infinite secrets of the universe. And I got to tell you, you interpreted that scripture wrong. Just give you a heads up.
And so eventually she curses John to the point of like, he's like, got stiff tongue, he can't feel his mouth, he locks up, then he gets seizures, and then he just fucking dies.
Yeah, man. She got
and
hit.
It's like, well, John was probably, well, let's put it this way. 1800s, 30-year-old plus man, he's gonna die. Like from some kind of illness.
Something's
like,
gonna get you, dude.
That's just gonna happen.
Yeah, penicillin didn't come along for quite some time after that, right?
A lot of things didn't come along for
it was a rough life, dude. One thing
they just say, Kate Batts, the old Bell Witch, haunted and killed him. And of course they say like they heard her voice yelling, I got him! I got him! I got that son bitch! And it's just the best. Hilarious bullshit. Because it just devolves.
It's super devolved, and I like the stuff they even tell in present day. Like how the band of kids grave robbed their tombstones.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the driver who was driving the actual tombstones ended up dying like the exact next day. Like crashed his car.
Yep.
And the kids gently return the gravestones back. Like,
yeah, they're just like, not dealing with this.
Don't want none of that. Don't want none of that. In kind of how the locals interpret the curse, where he was like, yeah, there's about three different kinds of people here in Tennessee. Those who completely think it's false and think it's just stupid, local folklore. Those who kind of believe it, who are kind of
those who are just like, save me, Jesus! The witch is coming!
And those who are just definitely like full indoctrined into the myth and are definitely afraid of it every day they have to live in that town. And you get to see a little bit of everybody in this documentary.
This documentary covers it so well, with like actual people giving their own retellings and actual folklore experts and whatnot, and historians.
Yeah,
the actor is kind of going, "I'm a seizure."
The acting is the wackest, but what I do like is
the acting is the best, especially when they have the witch come out with CGI effects.
Oh man, when the witch is wearing all black and she like slurps up to the camera.
Oh my gosh, slurps up is such a good way to put it too.
It's too whack, Doug. My favorite part of this entire thing was the retelling of the slave walking from plantation to plantation, visiting his wife. In that story kind of got under my skin, where he was walking across a certain way and he saw a black dog in the thoroughfare, as it were.
Yep.
And the black dog was giving him a hard time. So he had his trusty axe and split the dog's head clean open. Dog fell down, dog go boom. Then he comes back the next night, and now the dog has two heads. Yep. And it just completely, as it should, freaks him the hell out. And he just bolts it back to to his slave house, to the plantation.
It's just so, I mean, even like crazy. The very beginning, before the ghost even showed up, like the Bell family saw like this white ghostly hair in their cabbage patch, and they shot it, and it just got up and kept running.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good. Or are the ghost lights, which is an actual thing, like spiritual, like almost like fireflies, but they're giant.
Swamp gas.
And that's the thing across the world. That's the thing that happens.
Oh yeah, because it's more mysterious that way.
Very fun. Or when one of the sons saw the giant god bird.
The giant god bird, yeah.
And they were like, oh, and then Mr. Hollywood goes into like cryptids and like, oh yeah, it's highly possible. He saw like a Quetzalcoatl or something. Like,
oh my God. They were so close to fucking Kentucky. They might as well just call it the Mothman. No, wait, West Virginia. That's what it is.
West Virginia.
Oh boy, if you want to look into more American folklore, there's a friggin' example right there with the Mothman.
Or you could just play Fallout 76 and get all of the lore.
No, fuck that. No 76. That game is rightfully dead for a lot of reasons.
Speaking of dead, I just like the idea that they never really classified, but you've thoroughly explained how this is indeed Bats, right? This is her.
Oh yeah, it's Kate Bats. And the best thing is that once John died, she kept haunting this family because she hated them all except Lucy. Like I think there was like I think it was Kate Bell or Nelsie Bell, one of them, Kelsey Bell, whatever. The wife of John Bell.
Yeah.
Daughter of John Bell.
The daughter is the one that got really messed with, right?
Just abused. Like she would just haunt her, yell at her, scream at her the entire time.
Like physically assault her. Yeah,
neighbors would come by to sleep with this daughter because they were afraid that Kate Bats would like kill her otherwise.
Yeah.
And they just kept going, this is insane. We see this girl harassed on the daily at night. I can't believe what I saw. I believe in the Bell Coast. Fuck this town.
Yeah, it was, and they were saying that it may have been due to like a seduction of the innocent kind of situation, because this little girl was kind of Then
you have Lucy Bell, the wife of John Bell, who apparently Kate Bats was freaking fond of, and would just harass people for not giving Lucy free food. Like if Lucy was by herself, she would haunt the neighbor. The Bell Witch would haunt the neighbors, yell at them, "Bring her food! Bring her food! I'll haunt you too!"
I like that the Bell Witch had friends and people she thought was cool. Like there was another guy, right? She had like homies. Like, yeah, I would have conversations with Bats all the time when she was cool. She never bothered me. Like,
exactly. What? It's just the best.
You don't hear about that. Like these deathly, vengeful spirits. Like F you, you're cool.
Yeah, it's the exact same scene from Workers.
Yeah, from freaking from Half Baked, man.
And then you get just this entire diatribe, and it goes on for generations, literally, up till like a few years go by. There's an entire spiel with Andrew Jackson, which is hilarious, but I'm not going to go into it because Andrew Jackson was a horrible man.
Yeah.
And then, like, she goes quiet, but for about 7 years, comes back, starts haunting again. Then Lucy Bell dies, old age and whatnot. And then she goes quiet again. And it's just like years and years go by with like sporadic things going on around the Bell property, to the point of in Common Day, Tennessee, someone goes, "Hey, shit's going weird in this part of town. What's going on?" And local natives just shrug and go, "Kate did it. Kate's up to something." And they just walk off.
Yeah.
And like a tourist will go,
"What?
Whoa. Wait, what?
What?
What are you talking about? There's a ghost?" And they go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And this is this is the epitome of American folklore. Of just shit's weird. It's actually horrifying. And then it becomes kind of comedic in a way.
It becomes,
and people accept it as a normal.
Yeah, it becomes commonplace that shit's fucked in this particular part of town. You know, and everyone who lives there knows better.
This documentary portrays it so well. Like, these people are just kind of go, "Yeah, we got a ghost around this pod. And it's a hard ass of a ghost. Don't piss it off.
Don't piss it off. That damn bat, she'll get you. Don't piss her off."
Exactly. And it's such epitome American folklore, which makes me want to go into a diatribe of other folklore, because buckle down, Mike. You're going to get into this kind of stuff. So you're on the good old part of California where you don't have to run across anything besides, I guess, skinwalkers, chupacabras.
You know what I'm saying?
Chupacabras, skinwalkers, wendigos.
Wendigos every once in a while.
Maybe blur out that S word, because that's actually like a terrifying thing for like the actual lore itself, is to not speak the word, or else it gives the creature power. Yeah,
they'll come for you. So yeah, I expected. I've seen chupacabras, dog.
Okay, how about this?
That's a whole other podcast.
Blur out that S word so it's not so offensive.
Okay, what S word?
Yeah, the S word.
I totally missed it. Did I say it or did you say it?
No, I did.
Oh, you said the creature's name?
Yeah.
But it's already said, so it's coming for you no matter what, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, for the audience, blur it out.
Oh, it's like the Ring. We don't want the audience to accidentally get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're saving your lives, podcast, and guess what? I'm not blurring it out. Get wrecked.
Fuck you, man.
GG no read.
Come on.
GG no read. Just don't say it.
Also, there is a Hulu thing right now called Hunt for the Blah Blah Walker. It's actually really good. Would recommend. Anyway, so there's all this stuff, and you realize this is just Native American folklore. This stuff is great.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Native American folklore monsters and whatnot are actually great.
Yeah, they're beautiful and they're meaningful, and they have a point, and they have a place, and they can be respected and actually even deified on some levels. They're not just boo haunted house, you know what I
mean? Yeah, they actually have like meaning. They're terrifying.
Yeah,
and it's actually just like really, really, I mean, just cool in general.
I gotta say, if we're talking about like lore, folklore, I was obsessed with the Jersey Devil for a period of my life. Obsessed. Like, I wanted to find it. Like, I was down to make the pilgrimage to go get it. Yeah, but
I mean, then you have like literally like giants and like ape people, which are,
swamp ape, dude.
Sasquatches.
The yellow man, Doug.
And it's like hilarious because then there's like various different types of Sasquatches, like the Sasquatch that kind of like runs around the forest and doesn't really want to be seen. Then you have like the Genosqua, which is like a Native American variant, which is just like they kill and eat meat exclusively and just hunt people down.
Sasquatches are like bears. You come across a Sasquatch that's closer to a black bear, you just tell it to shoo and it runs away. Then you have the grizzlies, where if you see it, you're going to die.
So one of my favorites is Mothman, because Mothman is hilariously stupid.
Mothman is the best, dude.
It is the funniest damn thing. You know what's even better, though? Here in good old Arkansas, Fouke County, you ever hear about the swamp ape?
I know about swamp ape, dog. I know all about swamp
You know about the legend of Boggy Creek?
I don't know about the legend of Boggy Creek, dog.
Boggy Creek monsters, the swamp ape in Fouke County, Fouke, Arkansas. It's also literally called Fouke, Fauke.
Yep.
Fauke.
Mm-hmm.
That's a goddamn it, Arkansas. So the swamp ape is the cousin to the Sasquatch. It is about a foot or two shorter, much more hairy, has big old red glowing eyes the size of silver dollars, and it's got an unnatural odor, much
stinks.
like a skunk and a wet dog mixed together.
Yeah,
Hence,
it stinks.
skunk ape.
Yeah, man.
So I look at that the American South had to take a freaking Sasquatch and make it shorter and uglier and smellier and call it its own.
Yep, that's us. That's our shit. Don't touch it.
No, that's my shit. Apparently in Arkansas, that's
yeah,
not
man.
you. You're in California.
All we got. I'm telling you, all we got is chupacabras, dog, and they get you.
Oh, I kind of love Latin American monsters and whatnot. They're actually pretty.
Latin American stuff is awesome, dude. Like creatures, folklore from around the world is beautiful and interesting, and so it's untapped marketing potential. You can make a movie. You can make a movie about any of it, dog.
But then you get things like freaking Chupacabra, which is fun, hilarious, kind of silly, but also kind of terrifying still.
Yeah, just kick it.
Then you get La Llorona.
Oh, that's a whole different. That's a ghost, though.
I mean, it's still a cryptid, essentially. It's like a monster of Latin American folklore, and it's actually pretty great.
Let's get back to Miss Bats.
Oh boy,
let's wrap up Miss Bats. So
eventually, the legend just kind of dies off, and the Bell Witch is just kind of floating about hither and thither, just kind of out there.
So the Bell Witch's impact on American history can be felt, as we said, in popular media. Many horror movies have been kind of based off of this tale of just the most cantankerous human on earth who was so mad that her anger became ethereal, a la The Grudge, and this thing had a grudge with John Bell, who apparently he was a pillar of the society. John Bell was the runner of the church, I want to say. Am I getting that right?
John, he wasn't the leader of the church.
He wasn't the leader of the church, but they were a staunch Christian family.
Yeah.
And pretty much they thought that because they were so polarizing and so staunch in their belief that this spirit had attached to their family almost as an affront to the godliness of the area at the time. Like kind of the demon, or in this case, the witch, thumbing her nose at conventional Christianity. But in all essence, it was just to work over John Bell because she hated him so much.
Yeah, and it's just so spiteful and amazing how it just works out together in the end.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
She gets her revenge through sheer time. She's a ghost. She has nothing but time on her hands. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to die eventually. And now they're yelling at each other in heaven. I don't know. In the they're both haunting the premises now. You don't know until you go there.
It's just amazing that this spiteful woman became an actual ghost through sheer force of, I hate this man, I'm going to haunt him.
He needs to go down, and I wasn't able to do it, so I'm going to break the rules of spiritual transition. Just stick around. I like the way that she haunted them. I like that. It's all very subtle scratches at the door, pulling, the older sister getting her, blankets constantly pulled off of her all the time. You know what I mean? Like just messing with them. Of course, the infestation smells and things like that. And I love the full conversations she would have with them. Like most ghosts, they're very kind of candid. They'll say a word, cheeseburger. What does that mean? But this ghost was like, you know what? Actually, your scripture is wrong. You're interpreting it incorrectly. And I feel you should bone up on your Bible there, Pastor. Whatever, Bats. Get out of here. No, I will not. You know what I mean?
I just love this. I just freaking love this amazingness. Because it's always just, yo, I hate you. I'm going to haunt you and your family forevermore. Peak Americanism.
Yeah, I'm going to haunt you. The Hatfields and the McCoys, man. My anger is infinite. It will never go away.
So what do you say, Mike? What did you think about this movie?
As a movie, I can't help. I gotta be honest. I can't sugarcoat how I feel about the movie in general. the production value, the acting, the costuming. I swear I had one of the shirts that one of the old, back in the, the black and white, interpretations of what was happening. The guy was wearing a shirt that I own. You know what I mean? I know that shirt. That one button, I got that. It's in the closet. So I'm just like, I get it. The graphics were hilarious. There were some parts that really creeped me out, like when the kids were walking through the forest and they found the hanging woman.
Yeah.
They did that really well. That kind of got under my skin. And how the hanging woman was kind of still moving and just pieced out, disappeared in front of their faces. Certain things they did well. But on the other side of it, like you said, it's a very well done documentary. The interviews they had with people were very interesting. Like I said, I couldn't tell if these were actors who were really into it, or people who were really into it that knew how to take acting cues. I couldn't tell. So that threw me for a loop. I like how specific they were, like mentioning like the period of time this was. They stated that the church, that was kind of the focal point of this town, was built around the time that George Washington was first inaugurated as president. So there's an old history to this, right? Like a super old history in the way
you were really drawing out your final thoughts on this movie.
No, I know, because I don't have because the answer I want to give is layered. It's hard to explain. Austin.
You don't like the movie, but you like the lore. How about that?
I don't like the movie, but I don't like the production of the movie as a movie, but I love the research they did to get the information that they provided. There's merit in that. You know what I mean? So I'm really 1 foot out the bed and 1 foot back in the bed. So if I was to rate this 0 out of 5, swamp apes, I would give it a 3. I would give it a 3 out of 5. And that's simply because I think that the approach of the acting could have been a bit better. I get it. We're out there. This is Industrial Lights and Magic, right? But we've seen movies with similar budgets that pulled off better shots. You know what I'm saying? The Blair Witch Project cost like $10. You know what I mean? It cost the money in their pockets. But at the same time, it educated me on the Blair Witch. Jeez, I'm never going to not mix these two up. It educated me on the Blair Witch. It educated me on that part of the country. And it makes me interested to learn more, honestly, to dive a little bit deeper into the lore. And I would love to visit and just check it out.
So there is plenty to explore in the lore in general. Really quickly, I would give this a good 3 out of 5. I love the documentary series more so about this in general, because it's actually kind of like accurate in how the entire lore is presented in general. It's actually quite nice. I like it. Mm-hmm. There is acting, it's hammy, but it kind of portrays what actually happened according to the lore as well, so it's not overly dramatic. I would also say 3 out of 5, enjoyable. Watch it. It's fun. It's American folklore, so that's interesting as hell.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to know more, plenty to read. Plenty to read over the course of like 200 years.
Yeah.
Also, my God, this was literally an episode of a podcast on last podcast on the left, like just last month. And that was amazing. So if you want to go listen to those guys do it, they did it pretty well too. They covered the entire story of the Bell Witch.
Yeah, here we're just kind of going over this film. We're not talking about the history itself. We're talking about the mark of the Blair Witch, out December 15th.
You know, the Blair Witch?
See? I need to my tongue is going to freaking fall out like John Bell. Mark of the Bell Witch. And it's funny that I keep mixing those two together because, one's inspired by the other. And that's one thing that kind of tricked me, was I thought this was pure imagination from someone's brain. It's like, no, there's a deep lore with, like you said, over 200 years of analyzing and speculating. And that in itself is fascinating and worth the watch. So I would definitely recommend this one. If you just want a little taste of Americana, of our, little taste of our dark history, a little bit of the supernatural, let's check out Mark of the Bell Witch. Where can we find you, Austin?
You can find me, Dustin Ozzy, on Twitter. And I'll be here along with Mike, along for the ride on the last podcast that we're ever going to hear about for the Bell Witch.
You never know. It could be like 2025, and like Daniel Radcliffe makes a Bell Witch remake or something. We're right back where we started. Yeah. And if you want more content like this, if you want more cryptid content, now that we've had this episode, I'm kind of inspired that we can have like a little cryptid cast.
Oh boy.
Where we pick a monster and just talk about it.
Oh boy.
I'm kind of curious. I know Austin would be down. I know you're D, Austin.
Exactly. I am all about that. Good goo goo.
All that juju goo go. So that juju beans. If you want more of that, let us know on Twitter. We're at Nerdiverse, where we do polls, we do funny posts, we do GIFs, all the Twitter stuff. And every once in a while, we'll give a little bit of nerd history when we feel like it. If you want to support us monetarily, you can always do so via Patreon, which is patreon.com/MOTN. I know there's not a lot of meat to it right now, but if you give us money, we will grow the beef. We will manufacture the beef. And it's real beef. It's not Beyond Beef. That stuff scares me. Have you ever had a Beyond Beef burger, Brer? Not to get too far off topic.
They're fantastic. They're great.
Is it Soylent Green?
I mean,
is it people?
We'd probably save a lot more trouble and energy if we did make it Soylent Green.
There's a lot of people on Earth, man.
Yeah.
A lot of it. I'm not going to go into cannibalism on this episode. I was almost there. If you're not a cannibal, please like our content.
Is it cannibalism if it's just recycled?
Yes. If you're not a cannibal, comment on our episode, subscribe to our channels, because feedback is important. And if you are a cannibal, email us at mastersthenerdiversecast.com and tell us all about it. How do you go about it? How do you not get caught?
If you're a cannibal, stop.
Well, stop. But if so, how do you get away with it, man? Tell us the secrets of your cannibalistic ways.
We totally won't rat you out, we swear.
We won't rat you out, I swear. We won't have to. Gmail will do it. Because we're all being monitored. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G.
And I've been your also host, Austin.
And we will always ask you to look towards the skies. Look towards the skis. Oh, Jesus, a bell witch. I saw it in my backyard.